Okay, we are live, people. What is going on? All right, so this is another edition of Question About the Magic with Tom, your other co-host Anthony, and with our guest today, rapper Agstract. All
Yo,
right,
yo,
welcome.
yo, yo. Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for having me. Shout out Tom. Shout out Ant. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, Abstract is another person we met from the Velvet Lounge, where we had our other three guests. Be Good, that's actually his cousin. He was actually watching the interview live when we were doing the one with Be Good. We also had Ty the Truth, Vincent James Gallo. Those guys were on last week and all that. But this week we're interviewing another person from there, another rapper, and all that stuff. Who I actually got a chance to meet pretty well there, and we definitely had our conversation.
Yeah, yeah. It was the first time we met, but we was clicking and whatnot. It's all love. It's all
Yeah,
love.
we were clicking. We were clicking, all right. Oh yeah, we were. Yeah,
Or
but yeah, no. So I guess let's start with. Oh, we got a little bit of an echo here.
yeah.
All right. So tell us about your journey.
Like in terms of music and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to really long story short, I've been rapping since I was about 13. I started taking it seriously maybe 3 years ago. Was always inspired by rhythm and raps and bars and flows and whatnot. So, just decided to take it serious and just trying to put the best shit I can out. Yo, cuz, what up? Oh, be good in the building. Let's go.
All right. Yeah. So, what kind of what would you say, kind of drove you to doing rap?
I've always listened to rap growing up. I actually have this theory. It's something that I thought about later on in life, like in hindsight and whatnot. But when I was seven, 6, 7, I moved from Brooklyn when I was 7, so I was born there. But when I was there, we actually lived on top of a record store. So every time that I was in the crib, I would hear a little bass and the boom bap and the flows and everything. So I think ever since then, I kind of had a curiosity. And then when I hit middle school, I started rapping. And yeah, long story short.
That's good. No, that's an interesting story. And what would you say was your influences?
Damn, growing up. Uh, Let me see. I started rapping when I was 13. We had Kanye out there, 50 Cent, Ludacris. Everyone that was popping around that era. We used to wear tall tees and big ass fitteds and all that shit. But you know what I'm saying? So that's what initially sparked me. But then growing up, I really had like a sort of transformation or like a renaissance of my artistry, if you will, when J. Cole and the Kendricks and the Kid Cudis came out. That's when I was in college and whatnot. So that further influenced me. But there's so many. There's so many. I can't even name it.
Now, what would you say? What's the difference with this day in rap music or this day in the music industry as well? Do you think it's hard for a new artist to get out there, or is it hard to compete in this business? Do you feel or?
Um, like harder than what? Like say like 10 years ago, or 15 years ago?
Yeah.
I would say so. I think ever since, the phones became more prevalent and people now everyone's a rapper, as cliche as it is. Like a lot of people are rappers, a lot of people make music now. Or maybe the same people have, but now we're able to interact with these people a lot easier and whatnot. So it is harder, I think, just because of saturation of the market and everything. But it also gives you an opportunity if you really got skills and talent like that to shine if you can.
Now, okay, so yeah, so would you say, with being in a record label, what would you rather? Because I had a guest on a few weeks ago who said he would not want to be on a actual record label. He would want his own
Yeah,
an independent label. He doesn't want to be controlled by anybody, really, in that
yeah.
all that. What's your take on that?
Um, I think it depends. It depends on the situation. I would never want to get into a sort of 360 deal when the label literally has me as their slave, if you will.
Right,
Where
that's what he was saying. Yeah, like a
yeah,
360,
but
you want a 360 deal. Well, now can you
yeah,
explain to the audience what a 360 deal is exactly? Because I
honestly,
still don't
I'm
know
not actually the aficionado at this. I know a pretty base level, but it pretty much has to do with it's a contract. It's an agreement that you have with the label in terms of what they have access to, and ultimately the things that you're liable for, just because they're paying you advances and the sort of things. So you'd have to, give it back in a way.
Yeah. Well, now I wonder, too, with the record industry nowadays, it's not. I don't think it's like as glamorous as like in a sense of like in the 60s and 50s. If you could get signed to like the major record labels that were out there, which were
Yeah,
like RCA, Capitol, and all that stuff,
yeah,
or Columbia. I mean, that's not. I think really in today's age because there's so many record labels and there's so much stuff you can do by yourself with creation that you don't need a big label to pick you up.
exactly. Yeah,
Sometimes, in some ways, it's not good, or sometimes you don't even need it really as much. I mean, people
definitely.
see problems all the time. I mean, I think people have gone wiser now from seeing other artists get fucked, but it still happens. I mean, people still get screwed. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just like it's a time after time where it's like like the dinosaurs come after the little ones, like that's the that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to feel like that they're powerful and tougher than
yeah.
these these kids. And I think in a sense too, do you always like, is it hard like okay, so for instance, like if you had like a team representing you with that stuff, like would you want to feel like you'd want to totally feel like, I would assume, independent, that this is your music, like you don't want anybody controlling? I mean, like what is your
Yeah.
take on like management or having like a team to help you?
No, I'm actually looking for a manager. Often it can be hard finding a manager that's really about you and not really just, having secret motives or whatnot. So I am looking
Right.
for a manager and whatnot. I think a great manager is one of the best things an artist can have if it really is someone that you trust. But yeah, as long as I'm still able to have autonomy in my music, though, obviously I'd be able to make whatever I make, and I'm an active participant in the percentages that's being cut. You know, I think it's a way to make it copacetic. It is.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And like now, like when you write in your songs, like what is like that type of style? Like what do
Hmm.
you look for when you write your songs?
Um, Especially recently, every time I write, I try to, like, almost pour my spirit on the track. So I'm dealing with a lot of so I'm writing about a lot of mental health things, a lot of spiritual things, a lot of things that I question in my own mind, such as my own line between good and evil, or sin and righteousness. So that's sort of inspiration. But then also, just sometimes I just want to write some shit that sound hot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in between those two, style and substance.
Now, would you say like you're like a storyteller by any chance, or like write any fictional like characters or?
Um, Not really. I think I actually often write through the view of myself, through a first person perspective, even unconsciously, just because I feel like, as I said, I am trying to work those things out in me, and that's what naturally comes out of my music. But I have wrote perspectives in the third persons of different people, not the third person, perspective of other people. But I haven't really put out too many of those. I think I'm really trying to perfect it in that way before I do.
All right. Okay. No, yeah, you're cutting out a little bit, but I was able to, I think, understand you.
Or
Uh, yeah. No, but yeah, no, totally. And like, is there any like kind of like shift you would want to go into with your music?
um, yeah, I think I do. Shout out to Kanye West in the recent drop of Donda. His ridiculous album. It just
Yeah,
further
I
made
heard
me.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. People in my organization were talking about that yesterday, like how like
yeah,
I play the Kanye album like on spin all the time.
yeah. And I think listening to his album, it just made me think about how he's furthered the gospel genre in a way that people know now. You can make it sound hip, you can make it sound cool, and still praise God. So I do want to throw more God praise in my music, and more of mental health struggles and my perspective on it, more than the past.
I'm glad you actually brought up that issue because I feel like mental health is like such a important thing to talk about and discuss,
Yeah,
and that doesn't get mentioned a lot.
yeah,
And I think like I even talked about this because I'm in a writing class and all that stuff, and I write a little, and I think mental health is such a cool type of genre to have. I think so.
yeah.
And yeah, Anthony, is there anything you want to ask our guest?
So I'm just sharing all this. I'm just sharing in the background.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, like I guess what made you want to start doing all this? Oh,
Oh shit.
got out. Oh, I guess.
All right. Well, I guess we're having an issue with Wi-Fi.
I guess I'm gonna have another intermission.
All right. Well, how do you want to say this? Oh God, you are having some weird too. Shit. Wait, is it me or just okay? Yeah, no, it's not me. All right, we're back on you. Okay, cool. He's back.
Okay.
Just it's saying it's not connecting, so we're just gonna go wait.
All right.
But yeah, no. So once we get this fixed, we'll just stall a little bit. Yeah, no. So Anthony and I were talking a little bit before the break about certain songs and all that stuff, and music and all that. Like to listen to, and all that. Anthony, what songs have you been listening to lately? Anything good?
Not really. I do want to take a look at that Kanye West album though, because just with all the controversy surrounding it, I guess.
There's controversy. Oh, hey man, we're back.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, he's.
Yeah, I don't know fully what the issue was with the album, but I had to look into that.
I didn't know there was anything. I just heard people loving it.
Yeah. Well, there's some issues. For what my sister was telling me, there's issues with I think like some artists that you worked with.
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah. So, okay, what happened?
I don't know. It's doing even now. It's doing like a little bit of echo. I don't know. It's shit bugging. I don't really know why. It's part of my language. I don't know how that.
Oh
How that
no. Oh yeah. I don't know. We've been having this weird echo issue. I don't know.
nah, it's all good now though. I can hear you good.
Yeah, I think it might be on Anthony's end because I mute his mic usually and all that stuff, and then it gets better. But when his mic comes back on, the echo comes in.
I mean,
All right,
it's not so
I'll
bad.
just yeah, I'll just keep myself muted unless I have something to say. So, if that's
All
the
right.
case.
Yeah. Was there anything you want to say?
Well, I did want to, I guess, like kind of double back with the comment you had mentioned earlier about like the oversaturation thing. There
Yeah.
is definitely an oversaturation, and that's mostly thanks to modern technology and all that.
Yeah.
Because with all the softwares and stuff available, anybody can like make music now from their computer, from their phone, from anywhere, and not all of it's going to be good. A lot of it isn't very good. So that's always going to be an issue. So you just have to obviously do your best and just do what you can to stand out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, we was talking. Also, we started kind of getting into a little bit about the Kanye album situation.
All right.
Like, do you know more about that situation? Because neither of us really do.
I don't really know much about it. It just seems like there's mad artists coming out of left field saying fuck Kanye because he dropped him off the album, something like that. But
Yeah, that's what my sister was telling me. Like that he basically So like one of the situations she had told me was that like he had got some singer to sing on like the chorus or some parts of the song, and then he changed like the pitch or whatever, or at least made it to the point where it seems unrecognizable, and then dropped her and didn't credit her for her contribution to the song. And from what I've been hearing, there's a lot of that because I heard that happened with Soldier Boy and like his lyrics and stuff like that. So
yeah, I don't really know too much about it. But, if you go to Kanye West page, it says that he made a post saying that Universal leaked his album out of so I don't really know. So there's like two sides to it, but who knows? I'm sure it'll come out soon about it. I don't know.
you know what they
Dope
say
album.
though.
Definitely a dope album. Definitely a dope album.
Oh, have you listened to that album?
Yeah. I listened to it once. It's not really enough for me to really critique it yet, but it sounded good on the first one. For sure.
Okay, but like, what kind of album is it though?
It's almost like it's like a gospel album. It's a rap gospel album in the true sense of the word. It seems like like you don't have to be a gospel fan to like the music because it's so rap like, but it has gospel lyrics.
Okay,
That's
like,
what
is it closer to like his last album, or is it like in the vein of something like Jesus Walks?
Yeah, a lot of them sound like Jesus Walks mixed with Yeezus, maybe Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like it sounds good. It sounds like maybe 5 years ago. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
So I
So
guess you could say he has like a religious awakening, I guess, with this.
yeah, he's a Christ follower now, so he's making music like that, despite the controversy surrounding him, featuring artists that don't really believe in Christ out of but
yeah, or
I
when he
dig
tried
it.
to run for president, I guess.
Damn, you just cut out.
No, oh no, I was saying like when he tried to run for president.
Yeah, he said 2024, I think, so he's gonna be back and shit. I
Oh
don't know.
God.
If he does come back, he has to do it early. Let me ask you this: would you vote for Kanye West for president?
Without hell no, I wouldn't vote for Kanye West. I mean, to be honest, I hope like shout out to my people that vote. I don't have nothing against voting, but I don't really vote like you know. I haven't really been convinced by any of these dudes, to be honest.
That's true. I mean, it's not like you have a lot of good options, so.
Yo, the stream is bugging a little bit though. I don't know if I can hear me, but it's cutting out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like. I mean, I noticed your connection's a little off at times. Is my connection off at times?
Yeah, it sounds like robotic. It sounds like you know distorted.
Well, wait, hold on. Let me.
I got 2%.
We are trying to see some
Yeah, it's still bugging.
Yeah, this would be a perfect commercial break.
All right, well, Anthony, keep stalling, okay?
I could try on like my iPad or some shit. I don't know if that's gonna help. I don't know. Maybe it's
I don't
like
know if you'll be able to get on from your iPad though. Like with StreamYard, it's kind of tricky.
It's hard for me to even understand. I ain't gonna front. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay.
Okay, how are we now?
I think we're fine. Okay.
I feel like I hear an echo on your end.
I mean, you probably do because I don't know how well I fixed set up the mic, so
Yeah.
So it probably is an echo from my end, but like
I think
but I would say like with the other, I guess with the other situation of keeping him on. All right, he's coming back out.
I think I had to put my headphones on.
Okay, now you're a little low. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, but you're kind of muffled now.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yo. Still nothing. Yo.
A little
We
bit.
can hear you. It's still like kind of low. So either you have to adjust the volume, or you just kind of have to speak loudly.
Yo. I'm still low.
Still kind of low.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't fix it, all right. There you go. Yeah, I think that sounds better.
I'm good now.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Now, how do I sound? Sound robotic or?
Yeah, it sounds pretty good right now.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Okay. All right. Well, we don't have that many more questions, but yeah, Anthony, I'm sorry. So you were in the middle of the story?
Was I?
I think we were just talking about Kanye West album. We were talking about Ye's album or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about like kind of just like going into all of the things with Kanye. I mean, honestly, like these albums, like coming out, like I gotta start listening to the newer stuff too. Like a little bit, or even like artists from the 60s and 70s I love are still putting out albums, and I don't listen to them as much because I mean I'm like in this like rock era, like this rock kind of phase where this is not a phase, but rock community that imitating others just to like other people I know who are into rock, like people I watch don't always listen to like artists that they love in the 60s and 70s new music, and I want to get more into that because I do want to like appreciate what they have like coming out while they're still alive. And even as much as I love stuff from like the 70s the 60s, I do think it's good to sometimes stay in the now. I think so. I think it's like anytime we can do that would be great.
Where I feel like there's so much inspiration in like going back to music. Like, I've had many phases where I've had to go back to music. I actually started into classic rock with the Doors, just fell in love with the Doors completely. Loved it more than dude.
Yeah, and Ray Manzarek. Yeah, yeah.
Word, yeah, and then I just kind of fell in love with that, listening to, some of the more popular ones, the Eagles, Beatles, and things like that. But still, it offered a different sound to me that I wasn't used to, and I think that kind of influenced me in some way.
Yeah, awesome. Well, now, what's your take on Hendrix?
Love Hendrix. I mean, he's the GOAT. He's one of the legends and whatnot. I wish he hadn't had died so early.
Yeah.
But
What would you say your favorite Hendrix song is?
It's Voodoo Child, like one of the most. I haven't gone too deep into him. But Voodoo Child's lit.
Listening to that, yeah, about that. I didn't mean to take up all your sweet time.
Yeah, like I don't even. It's something in his voice that you just feel it. You just feel it like through your soul. Like holy shit.
Yeah. And I mean, like also too, of course, like I do got to get more into like other stuff of Hendrix music, but like stuff from like of course, like All Over the Watchtower, the Bob, his cover of the Bob song, and of course Purple Haze. But what about yours? What's your favorite Doors song?
It'll probably be Peace Frog or that's hard. Peace Frog or Light My Fire. Light My Fire.
What about Hello, I Love You? Do you like that at all? Or?
Yeah, I know Hello, I Love You. Yeah. Definitely. I like all their music. It isn't really one that I don't like, to be honest. Like
it's funny because that song like had actually controversy from the '60s group, the Kinks. Apparently, the lawsuit was, or just that the controversy was that it sounded too similar to that song. And it's funny because as a kid, not knowing, still getting used to like all these, listening to the radio, not knowing, and I was like, classic '60s rock, listening to, rock groups like, that came on like the Kinks and all that stuff, and the Doors. I was still like trying to figure out who they all were, and I heard this song "Hello, I Love You" and I thought it was the Kinks. Like it's funny, like just as a little kid, I didn't know that much about them, but it just sounded to like You Really Got Me, or just to that style. And when my dad told me it was the Doors, I was like, what? Because I already heard the Doors, and Jim Morrison's got a low voice, and it sounds like Jim Morrison's kind of going for Ray Davies in that song already. So when I saw the video that apparently and I just found this out like a few months ago that like the controversy was that it sounded similar to the Kinks, I was like, holy shit. It brought me back to like 15, 16 years ago when I thought when that song came on, that was the Kinks.
I got you. Yeah, I'm not hit to the Kinks. I got to get on the Kinks.
I had a friend. I had a guest on. He's a great drummer, a great band. He's in a great band. He was in the band. He's doing some solo projects. Anthony Sabino and all that stuff. Great musician. He's a super fan of the Kinks. I've never known anybody who's been a huge fan of the Kinks. I mean, a few years ago, I thought they were just a '60s group, but no, apparently they're '60s, '80s, and all that. And no, he said all their shit is good. Like from the '60s, '70s, and '80s, there's nothing that's not like. There's nothing that stands out more. They're all like on their own. But yeah, no. What about Rod Stewart?
I'm not hip on Rod Stewart. I don't know if I've ever listened to Rod.
What would you say is like your favorite like male vocalist though? Like you're like as like an R&B type of person.
Oh man. Strictly an R&B or just of all time kind of thing?
All time. Just somebody who just like, love that, like hit those pipes,
I think my favorite rock vocalist would probably be Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam, just untouchable vocals.
Yeah.
R&B would probably be R&B like maybe Stevie Wonder R&B. And more contemporary, I don't know, maybe I don't know. I don't know about R&B contemporary nowadays, but I would say those two on both sides of the spectrum: Stevie Wonder, Eddie Vedder.
Oh, Stevie Wonder like is just like a legend on his own, and it's just like
exactly.
The guy's in a different mindset, I think. In the
and he's blind, bro. To be blind and be that proficient.
Yeah, the guy is like more than a man, honestly. In some ways, I feel like
Yeah, I think they've reached like another type of spirituality. Like people like Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like there's something that he hits more than Ray Charles in the sense of I gotta love Ray Charles, but there's something about him that just like I think and considering this guy started out as like a kid star too, as a little star. And then going all the way to really, his first big album, Talking Book with stuff like, Superstition, and all that.
Wow. He's actually one of my biggest influences as well, Stevie Wonder. So shout out to Stevie. One of my biggest for sure.
How can you not love Stevie Wonder? Yeah. And no. So Anthony, is there anything else you want to ask our guests there? You cut out, man. Is he still having issues with the robotic thing?
I think the mic might be having issues.
Yeah, I think his mic is like that. Anthony, you could just put in the chat or like the message if you have a question.
I'm just saying this. Like, so do you have any releases in the near future?
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, I have a lot of features that may be coming out soon. But in terms of me personally, I've just been going through a period of trying to discover a new form of writing that I could bring to music and everything. So I'm very much in the creative process. So right now, personally, nothing from me yet, but I think soon, definitely by the fall, like by the end of fall, for sure.
Now, I gotta ask, like, so when you perform, like, what does that feel like? Like,
Man, to be honest, I tell everybody this. I'm kind of an open book, but performing is probably my least favorite part of music. That's because I grew up a very shy kid, and deep, I still am very introverted in a sense. I like my space and whatnot. So the thought often is a little nerve wracking and whatnot. But once you're up there and you're having a good show, it's like very liberating, almost spiritual. But it's not something that I enjoy. I can't say that I love it
so
unless I'm in that.
so you prefer like being in the studio instead?
Oh yeah. My bag is the writing and the studio and the creativity part of it. That's really where I get my enjoyment from. Not to say that I hate performing, but it's
That,
more of a chore.
that's interesting because it's just like always like I mean not that this is bad, but just like always like the opposite answer I've always heard when I've heard musicians talk. It's like it's always that they
Yeah,
performing more than recording, and I guess it's differently. To each its own.
yeah, definitely. I think maybe more artists like the performing aspects.
Yeah.
And I feel
It
myself.
depends. I mean, I think there are some artists like some artists I'm fans of don't really perform but just put out studio stuff or like
Yeah,
end the rock era and then go more into like composing film scores and all that stuff.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean, one of the most brilliant R&B cats out right now. He's done a handful of performances, it seems. I mean, he hasn't performed in what 2-3 years or something. So much
Yeah.
so that he becomes so anticipated that it almost works for him. But he's one of those guys, I'm sure, that doesn't love the performance.
Well, that's like Robbie Robertson from the band. He like was like he when he performed with of course he performed with the band when they went out in the late '60s and '70s.
Yeah.
But during like the time when they went solo and they broke up in a sense, they like kind of like the rest of the group like kind of played and kind of formed their own version of
Oh,
what it was, and he just went to and did studio. What? Oh. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to. Both of our guests are gone at the moment, so we are going to just be stalling a little bit. If you want to comment in the chat, that'd be great, and all that. I know we've been having a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better for our next guest, when he comes on, and all that stuff. But yeah, no. So hope you guys have been enjoying this and all that stuff, and this might actually be the greatest time to talk about the milestone that we just created, and I can't be beyond grateful with this is 100 subscribers. Oh my god, I mean this is incredible. 100 subscribers, and I've always, like I've been waiting for this. I mean, I know this is not, and yes, I know this isn't the biggest milestone, but for me, in a sense, it just shows that, like, wow, like, it could be possible, in a sense. I'll feel a little bit better when I get more to like 1,000, but just 100, I think in some ways for me, it's an honor, and I just wanted to, honestly do I care about being a big YouTuber? No, maybe a few years ago in high school, I think you always have those ambitions, all that stuff. But you got to realize that, that's not you can't strive, you can strive for perfection, strive for creativity, but you can't strive for, like making people come and like, oh, you gotta watch me and all that stuff. No, they gotta come to you naturally. You gotta entice them in a way and all that stuff. And that's what I know, and stuff like that. And you gotta have something to say to have an audience as well. So yeah, and I think we got our guest back. So let's see. All right.
Hey, yo, my bad about that. I had to switch to my iPad. My phone ran out of battery.
Yeah. No, but yeah, what I was saying is, yeah, a guy from the band, Robbie Robertson, was a guitar player and all that stuff, and he, like, yeah, like when they broke up, he was really doing more film scores and all that stuff. The rest of the guys decided to perform. I think later on, like the '80s, he did not perform with them, but he did put out like he's been putting out albums, like for like a while and all that stuff, but doesn't really do live performances. So it's not like, and I don't think you have to be a big artist to be a live performance. I mean, hell, the Beatles, when they, like they stopped like performing in 1966, and yet they were still releasing great albums like Sgt. Pepper Magical Mystery Tour, and that was like the peak of their period. They felt like they needed to. They felt like they needed to stop touring in order to make great music. And I think that's the thing too. I think you can sometimes make beautiful artist statements that is not performing, because I think also too, performance sometimes is more of like, just like, you're playing the same songs over and over again at times, and it might be like tiring, and some people love it, like kind of like building relationships with their songs, but at other times, some people might like feel tired of singing the same song they wrote 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think as you said, it's almost like it's a dichotomy. It can either drain you, or some people become inspired and maybe write their best music. It depends. Artists are, we're in an eclectic group of people.
Yeah, exactly. That's what art is. And sometimes it's like, not saying that you can't make art live in a sense. Like, I mean, like when I think about that, I think about even our guest that we had, T.Y. The Truth. I mean, he had the mask that time. When you put that in, I mean, that's a really cool, type of.
Yeah, I definitely love that joint.
I thought it was really cool, and it was funny when he told me that was the first time he did it. Was the show that we were at.
Where, yeah, it seems to be a hit. I think it hypes the crowd up and everything. It's a spectacle. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, do you think like, is there anything that you do that you feel like you need to hype up your audience? Maybe not like so much like on stage, but like audience in general, like in the studio even.
I don't know, like what I do on stage to try to hype up the audience and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just try to. I realize as everything, like I feel like a performance, or even like when you're recording music, it's almost about an energy transfer, and you just hope you're on. Maybe you're on, and you give all of you, and you have the best performance of your life. But I do think it's a sort of, you got to feel it in yourself completely to really deliver it to the audience in that way. So my best performances are ones where I'm able to completely let loose and feel in the moment. That's what I would say. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. No, Anthony, is there anything you want to say, or how you doing with the mic?
Oh, is this sounding better?
Yeah, we good.
Yeah, actually, it sounds like.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I have anything else to say at this moment.
Okay, well, I guess for then, is there anything you want to plug before we head off?
Yeah, man. Go to any music streaming site. Go to YouTube. Type in Agstract. That's Agstract. It's like abstract, but with a G. Just really trying to make music to help people when they're feeling low, and to celebrate people when they're feeling high, and to just give my all and make dope shit. And I hope people appreciate it. So check me out.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Agstract, for being a guest.
Thank y'all. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Truly. This is another edition of Question About the Magic, and we'll see you guys in the next live stream. See you guys. Bye.
Yeah. And the Velvet Sock.
Stuff like that.